Hey there, my name is Amanda. I also go by Ketoginja. I've lost over 100 pounds eating a ketogenic diet, and I am in some kind of maintenance mode, which turns out is a lot harder than the weight loss mode of low carb eating. I don't know if all of you feel that way. I know some of you think it's a lot easier, but for me, because as I get down to, I don't like the word goal weight. I know when I feel really good and I'm like comfortable with how I'm feeling with what weight I'm at, but I try really hard not to have a set number in my head because I get super triggered that way. I have a point. I find that when I get closer to that general area, I mentally start to allow myself a lot more flexibility in my diet. I tend to increase my keto sweets and convenience foods, and I just tend to kind of not do as well during maintenance. Now, that's not to say that I'm like down on myself or anything like that. We have been using this quarantine time to kind of do some self-reflection that is completely unrelated to food and diet, which is why you guys have not seen a ton of cooking videos or anything like that because, well, I have been having a bit of a mental health issue. I discussed this in a live a few days ago. If you want the whole nitty-gritty story, you might want to check out the last video I uploaded, which would be the live. But, full disclosure, I have a history of depression and anxiety. I have had this issue since I was a child, really, since I was probably around 11 years old. It's come and gone. I have years sometimes where I don't have a down slope and I feel really great all the time, and then sometimes it gets away from me and I have to take charge of the situation. So I started feeling some really depressive things and really not myself and really feeling unhappy and starting to get very concerned about my mental state. So I am back on antidepressants and I'm back on anti-anxiety medication, and I am starting to feel a lot more like myself. So might not necessarily be something that I have to do forever, but for now, that's what I'm doing. I also decided that I desperately needed to find something in my home that was going to be like a sanctuary space for me, something that could be a hobby and that I could give a lot of love and creativity to. I'm a photographer. That's what I do for a living. But this whole process has literally put my job on hold because weddings and huge gatherings of hundreds of people obviously is a no-go in our state of Florida right this moment and all over the country and most of the world. So taking my creativity away is really hard on my soul, and it's really hard on my heart, and I don't think I always realize just how necessary it is for me to really thrive, to have projects and creative things that I can get my hands on. So I tricked out my backyard, and I have a really amazing space out there now. Lots of plants and bird feeder and squirrel things. Like, I just needed a space and something that I could really sink my mind into to kind of get over this hurdle that I'm dealing with. So today I am going to show you really quickly the backyard. If you're on my Instagram, you probably saw it in my stories, but then I'm also going to show you my new favorite keto thing, which isn't that new. I'm just behind, but it's the Dalgona coffee. Have you guys... I don't do TikTok, but I think it kind of started on TikTok. It's a foamy coffee, basically, is what it is. But I'm going to show you guys how I make it. I've been enjoying one of those every single day, and I add my collagen to it, so it's super, super good for me. Really filling and delicious and just feels like a treat. So I'm going to show you my backyard project, and then we're going to make a Dalgona coffee. I have been missing you guys like crazy. Those of you that have been reaching out to me and checking on me and seeing how I'm doing and how the family is, you guys really do fill my love cup, okay? So let me show you the yard, and then I'll show you what you need for Dalgona coffee. That's what I'm doing. Is my garden project. Got my bird feeder here. I had to grease my bird feeder pole with Crisco because the squirrels were taking advantage. And then I did this. Those doors are from an old photo session setup that we had, and they're super solid and really old. So I'm repurposing them as a trellis for some jasmine. but isn't it so bright and cheery and happy? This is what I've been doing. So that's my yard. Isn't it adorable? I am like officially a crazy, psychotic plant lady, bird feeder, squirrel naming, garden weirdo, and it has just truly filled my soul and my need for color and creativity, and I can look out my kitchen window and it just brings a smile to my face every time I see it. So if you have some old paint or some old furniture or things laying around, throw some color on it and see if it doesn't just cheer you right up. It really did the trick for me and has kind of got me on a spiral of working on projects that I've been putting off. So, Dalgona coffee. I do not know anything to tell you about the origin, where it came from. I just know that it has kind of gone viral and I'm seeing a lot of videos about it. I've been trying it for a couple of weeks and it took me a really long time to kind of get it right. It's not hard. You just have to be patient and not all products work the same way. So I'm just gonna show you how I make mine, but feel free to tweak and jazz up the flavors however you wish. The main thing that you are going to need for this is instant coffee. I grabbed a jar from Aldi. This is their brand of instant coffee, the dark roast. It's absolutely delicious. I also add collagen to mine because you know that I live for Preferred Elements collagen. It is my favorite part of the day. It has a nice chocolatey flavor and it makes it so that I don't have to add any sweetener to my coffee. So let me show you guys what the steps are like and we'll have a delicious cup of Dalgona coffee. Very first thing that I do before I even touch the coffee, I get some original unsweetened almond milk. It ends up being about a cup and I pour it in. This is the dairy part of my coffee, but you know, get creative. And then I also add a tiny splash of half and half because it makes it super creamy. So now while I'm making the coffee foam, I put this in the refrigerator so it gets really, 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 really cold in the fridge. I definitely like the coffee flavor to be strong and to knock me over. If you are not a crazy coffee person, you might have to adjust some of the amounts, okay? Instant coffee is much stronger than regular ground coffee, so don't be a lunatic. I am going to use 2 tablespoons of instant coffee, and I would say because I'm a savage, they're like rounded tablespoons. And that goes into a cup. Next, we're gonna add some hot water, about 2 tablespoons, and then we're gonna blend it up with our frother. This is necessary. I just ran a cup of water in the Keurig without coffee to get my hot water. So I've got my couple tablespoons here of instant coffee. And to that, I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons, about 2, give or take, into this cup. Then I'm going to take my frother and I am going to blend this for a very long time. It ends up being, I think, right around 2 minutes, and the longer that you blend it, the more foamy and frothy it's going to get. It's just gonna start rising here in the cup. What typically happens is I get impatient and don't let it go long enough, and I just end up blending this into my cold, milky substance, so it's like a concentrated coffee syrup. Okay? You follow? You can see there's like a chemical reaction here that happens with the instant coffee when you blend it, that it starts to foam up. The first time I did this, it was an absolute disaster, a total bust. But I basically do this until I run out of patience. If you have enough patience to do this for minutes, this entire cup will be a foamy coffee. It's crazy. The milky mixture that has been hanging out in the refrigerator is going to get, oops, I'm spilling everything. A scoop of the Preferred Elements collagen, I'm gonna mix this up a little bit and put it right back in the fridge. Okay, stay with me. I am already running out of patience. If you are super patient, you can do this for a very long time and it'll just keep getting foamier and foamier. Because I'm not doing this as an artful presentation, I legit just want like a creamy cold coffee beverage. This would technically be good enough because it's gonna work like a coffee concentrate into that yummy milky mixture that I have in the fridge with the collagen. I'm about to give up, but you can see it's grown and the texture is like a really thick, like a coffee paste. So awesome. Beautiful. Like, I just can't get over the texture that it gets when you really, really take your time. Probably hard to see. Okay, so that's about all of my patience because I'm not a barista. Here is the milk mixture. Again, this is unsweetened almond milk, a little bit of half and half, and some preferred elements, keto collagen. We're gonna blend that up. I promise this beverage is worth all of this effort. It is that good. Let's marry them, shall we? Here's my milky cup. I'm gonna start the little hand frother going, and then I am going to add this gorgeous, thick foam. Look at that. To my milk mixture. And it is going to be a super jacked up, incredibly delicious coffee drink. Now, if you're feeling really creative and you're trying to do it for Instagram, this would be beautiful in a glass with the milk layered and all of that hoopla, but that's just not my thing. I really just want it to feel like I went to the coffee house. And that's it. Thick, creamy, delicious coffee drink. Look at that. It's like a melted frappuccino. I went ahead and poured some into a glass so you guys could truly see the texture of this beverage that I am about to enjoy. But isn't that just glorious? All of the fat from like the half and half and the almond milk, like, look at it. Isn't it beautiful? So many ways that you could judge this up. You can add all different kinds of flavorings and flavor extracts. You could do a cinnamon version. You can use different flavors of MCT oil, powder, and collagen, like vanilla. You could go crazy. You get the idea. I really miss those really, really high sugar, bad for you, grab and go gas station frappuccinos. That was one of my favorite things when I was still eating a ton of sugar. So this is like a bulletproof version of that. This works as a meal replacement for me because it's loaded with fat, has a good amount of calories. That's why I add the little splash of half and half, so it works like a meal replacement. It is so good. Like I said, I like mine strong. I don't like my coffee super sweet. I typically drink black coffee. So for me, this is very coffee strong. If you want a splash of something a little bit sweeter or isn't like on the, you're gonna have to tweak it. Why don't I just say that? You're gonna have to tweak it to your own taste buds, but I really hope that you give it a try. It's fun to make and just super, super beautiful. I am obsessed. For me, the hand frother is absolutely vital. I tried it with a hand mixer because there were some websites that said that worked. It did not for me. So if you don't have a hand frother, I will leave the link to the one I use down below. It was like $10 on Amazon and it's a workhorse. I beat it up and use it every single day and it hasn't let me down. I've had it well over a year of everyday abuse. So for $10 or $12, you can't beat it. It's so good, you guys. And honestly, When you're a coffee drinker, like I'm a coffee drinker, being that I drink it all day, every day, it's very rare that I have a coffee beverage and I feel what non-coffee drinkers get, that burst. Like, I can see sounds and I can, you know, talk a mile a minute and all those things. Like, coffee doesn't usually get me there. This does. It's strong. There's one of my squirrels right there. I had some leftover really, really bruised apples, so I fed him because I'm an idiot. I hope you guys enjoyed learning how I make Dalgona coffee. Excuse me. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, yell at me in the comments. I think it's Dalgona. I'm not totally sure. But this is my favorite thing currently. I've been drinking it almost every day and I'm just obsessed. So if you've made it and you love it, tell me how. If you made it and it didn't go well for you, tell me that too, so I don't feel like a loser, because it took me like 3 tries to get this right. Certain things that you add to the foaming mixture will take your foam away. So start with just the instant coffee and the water and try adding your flavorings or MCT oil powder or collagen or whatever you choose to add. Add that to the milky area, not to the instant coffee and water mix. That's what I've learned. I love you guys so much. I hope that you have an absolutely amazing day today, and thank you for loving me through all of my highs and lows. It really does feel like I have a network of people that give a crap how I'm feeling and how I'm doing, and that really helps me get through some of my own personal hard times. And if you are also struggling right now, be it with mental health or finances or trying to be a teacher for your children, a homemaker, unemployed, essential employee, whatever it is that you are going through right now and whatever your own personal difficulties are, I just want you to know that I love you and you can do it. We all can do it. We can do absolutely anything, okay? So take a minute to cry and then make a cup of coffee and dust yourself off. I love you so much. I'll see you guys really soon.